Hi guys, my name is Sam. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you my March wrap up. This is probably going to be one of the shortest wrap ups I've ever done. Not because I didn't read a lot of books, but because my burnout apparently affected more than just my reading, and I stopped recording in my reading journal. So I don't have many thoughts, at least that I can remember, about these books. So I'm just going to quickly go through them, tell you what I can and what I rated them, obviously. And that's just that. First off, we're going to start off with the stats, which I started doing last month and really enjoy. So let's get into that. I read a total of 11 books and had 2 DNFs. 2 of those books were novellas, 1 was a graphic novel, and 8 were regular length books. I read a total of 3,752 pages for an average of 91 pages a day, or 0.5 hours listened to. I record everything in pages, even though some of these were audiobooks, which is why I have both breakdowns. My average rating for the month was 3.9. And as far as formats go, this is where you can really see the burnout was happening, because I listened to way more audiobooks than I've ever done in a month before, because I didn't want to pick up a book. So I read 3 ebooks, 2 physical books, and listened to 8 audiobooks. And for representation, which is the last thing that I record, I had 3 books with LGBTQIA plus rep, whether that was in a main character or side character. If I counted the DNFs, that would have been 5 books that had that rep, and then 1 book with disability rep. Let's get into what I read. The first book that I picked up in the month was Check Please. This was a hockey graphic novel following our main character through his first 2 years of college, and, you know, finding himself in the field of hockey while also being gay. So it was really cute, enjoyable, but it read like YA and adult, and it didn't mesh the two together well. I'm actually not sure at this moment what it was supposed to be, but I do remember looking it up back then, and I feel like it was supposed to be a YA, but it was reading like an adult. And then also the chapters or sections were just all over the place. Like, we really just jumped everywhere in the middle of random conversations that the boys were having with each other, and sometimes it just felt like there was no purpose or reason for these things, and they were never explained, which is why I gave it a 3-star. Next, I read Exodus by Kate Stewart, which, if you guys have followed my Instagram and were a part of my close friends stories, know how much this book broke my fucking heart. I'll roll the clip really quick, actually, of me bawling my eyes out.
Should have been you, Cecilia. I hate you.
And so I ended up giving this book a 4.5, not because it didn't hit me where it hurt. Honestly, the audios were so fucking incredible for these stories. I wish I would have listened to the first one audibly, and I might go back and do that sometime, but I listened to this one and the last one audibly, and that made a world of a difference. The only reason it got a 4.5 was because Cecilia was fucking dumb. Next, I picked up Beach Read by Emily Henry, my first Emily Henry ever, and this was a great story. I gave it 5 stars. Honestly, I don't remember too much about the book, but I know in the moment that I was reading it, it was hitting all the spots. It definitely had sentimental elements because her father passes away in the beginning of the story, and she's kind of navigating dealing with that grief while also finding out he wasn't who she thought he was the entire time. So she's kind of like, damn, I have to deal with losing you and also discovering who you actually were, which is hard because I can't even ask you questions. But this story was beautiful, and I will definitely be picking up more Emily Henry in the future. Then I picked up a novella called Love Language by Jax Cadler. This one was a quick little romance in the workplace. The character didn't even know that he liked the boss until he was discussing with his friends, and they were like, "You're always talking about this guy. Like, you like him." And he's like, "What? No, I don't like him. Maybe I do." And then you get to see them form a little relationship. The story was only like 65 pages, so really quick, really short, which is why I gave it a 3-star. Obviously, there wasn't that much development. It's a novella. But yeah. Then I picked up Caution in Love as my first read for my TBR tournament. So if you wanted more in-depth thoughts, I'll link that video down below, but this one I gave a 3.5. I remember discussing that the depiction of a Spanish household, while accurate for some, was annoying to me because it really portrayed this like meanness out of love, and I hate that a lot of Spanish families are depicted that way. But you know, I know it's a reality for a lot of people, so I appreciate it for what it is. And that's just that on that. Next, I read What Lies in the Woods, and this was an automatic 5 stars. The twists were twisting, the story was juicy. I listened to this on audio and it was really freaking good. I would suggest the narration, but if you're looking for a nice juicy thriller, I would say to pick this one up. Next, I picked up my buddy read with Dana for the month, and that was Until You Can't by Brittany Saheen. Ultimately, I decided on a 3-star for this. The plot as a whole was annoying. Basically, the guy is supposed to be finding someone to fake propose to so that he can get his inheritance money for being married, to save his brother because his brother has been kidnapped. But majority of the story, there was no sense of urgency for the situation that his brother was in, and there was also a time where we didn't even know if the situation was real because we caught his brother like lacking outside with the dude who came to collect the money. So you was just confused, and then the back and forth between him and the female main character was stupid. So I give it a 3. I believe Dana gave it a 2 or a 2.5. Our best first buddy read, but you know, we gonna continue and see where we go. Next, I finished Lights Out by Kayla James, and I say that because this was actually the second book that I picked up in the month. I just didn't finish it until the end of the month. I was having a really hard time picking up books, and this was a book that I had to read via ebook, so I started it and then I never wanted to finish it because all of those other books in between were mainly audiobooks except for the 2 novellas. So I didn't want to pick this up, and then one day I was like, you know what, I have 70 pages left, let me finish reading this damn book. And I ended up giving it a 4-star, probably because of that gap in the time where I was reading it. Like, it just fell off for me because I stopped reading it, so that could be a me problem. And if I did ever have the inkling to reread it in the future, maybe it would get a higher rating. But it was a good story. Not my first F1 racing, but I love the concept of that, and I should really be picking up more F1 racing stories because they're really good. But yeah, it was a nice, simple story, and I liked it. Next, I read Never Lie by Frida McFadden, which I gave a 4.5. This was really good. I'm super happy that this was my first venture into Frida McFadden because I know a lot of people read The Housemaid Secret, The Housemaid, whatever, that series first, but I actually really enjoyed this one. The story was really good. It had some plot twists that I wasn't expecting, but it also had things that I predicted, which is why I gave it the 4.5. Also because I kind of felt like the reason behind the bigger picture was a little bit ridiculous, just a little bit. Then I went ahead and finished the series by picking up The Finish Line by Kate Stewart, and this one was everything. I was telling my friends that the majority of the time I was on Sean's side, and I could still be, but this story, majority of the time in this story, we're following Tobias and his point of view and his character and the way that they developed him in the audiobook. Like, hearing the depth of emotions in his voice just really did something for me, and I absolutely love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. Last but not least, I finished Rock Bottom Girl, which I gave 2.5 stars. This one was just way too freaking childish for them to be damn near 40. The way that they were together, the way that they were with other people, the high school setting for adults, just ridiculous. I didn't like it, and that's why I gave it a 2.5. I will obviously definitely be continuing on with Lucy Score books, but this one was just not for me. I'm going to quickly go over the 2 DNFs that I had in the month, one being the first book that I originally chose in my TBR tournament, which was Red, White, and Royal Blue. I discussed in that video a little bit, but this one just did not live up to the hype for me, and I found myself struggling to want to pick it up, so I just DNF'd it. And then last but not least, I DNF'd Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This one was just too much. Like, the the way that they talked, the things that they said. If I could remember a quote, I don't know if this is exact. One of the characters says something along the lines of his chest was tight like a virgin's, you know? And I lost it. Like I couldn't do it. It just made me want to die. So I just didn't read it. I can see where the appeal comes from, the story, because it's a story about revenge for mistreatment of the LGBTQIA plus community, and I can definitely get behind that concept, but the way that it was portrayed, maybe because I listened to the audiobook, it was much more vulgar hearing it, but there's nothing I could do about that because that was the only way that I had access to this book. It just wasn't for me. I couldn't do it, and DNF'd. But that is everything that I read in the month. I didn't have many thoughts, but I hope you got something out of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.